Hey Los Blancos fans, welcome back. Today we've got some massive updates that will blow your mind. We're talking Courtois injury concerns just weeks before the Club World Cup, a shocking twist in the Mastantuono transfer saga that could see PSG steal our target, and Florentino Perez is already eyeing a new goalkeeper that's not Joan Garcia. But before we dive into these explosive stories, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell, because you absolutely cannot miss what's coming next. Trust me, this is going to be huge. Let's start with some concerning news from our number one goalkeeper. Thibaut Courtois is currently dealing with sacroiliitis. That's an inflammation affecting the lower spine, and it's more serious than it sounds. The Belgian shot stopper, who's currently on vacation, underwent medical examinations by Real Madrid's clinical department, and the diagnosis has been confirmed. Here's what we know. Courtois will undergo treatment that should last about 1 week. Now, the club's official medical bulletin states that his evolution is being closely monitored, but here's the key point. His presence at the Club World Cup is not in danger. That's right, folks. Despite this setback, our goalkeeper should be ready for the tournament. The Club World Cup kicks off on June 15th, with Real Madrid making their debut on June 18th. That gives Courtois almost 3 weeks to recover fully, before our first match in the United States. The sacroiliitis causes intense pain in the lumbar region that can radiate to the legs, causing significant discomfort. However, the early diagnosis allows for immediate treatment, which is crucial. This injury will likely prevent Courtois from participating in Belgium's upcoming training camp and their 2 scheduled matches next week, even though he was initially called up. The Belgian Federation hasn't officially confirmed his absence yet, but all signs point to him missing these international fixtures to focus on his recovery. Now here's where things get really interesting, and frankly, quite disappointing. For us Madridistas, Franco Mastantuono, the 17-year-old Argentine sensation currently considered one of the most coveted young talents in world football, is closer than ever to defining his future. And it's not looking good for Real Madrid. Despite Real Madrid leading the race for his signature for months, PSG has now taken pole position in this 45 million transfer battle. Luis Campos is personally leading the operation for the Parisians, backed by relentless insistence from coach Luis Enrique, who has had multiple direct conversations with the player. Here's the heartbreaking part. Mastantuono's personal priority has always been crystal clear. He dreams of wearing the Real Madrid jersey. The kid admires our club deeply and has always wanted to play for us. However, both Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have shown reluctance to pay the $45 million transfer fee set by River Plate, considering it too high for the current market. Within Real Madrid, one of the main advocates for signing Mastantuono has been Santiago Solari, the former River Plate player who deeply understands the Argentine club's philosophy. Solari is absolutely convinced of the enormous sporting and commercial impact the young prodigy would have. Despite his efforts to convince the main directors at Valdebebas, Solari couldn't secure the necessary approval from the Real Madrid hierarchy. For such a significant expenditure, PSG, meanwhile, has been methodical and persistent, gradually breaking down the initial resistance shown by the young Argentine. One alternative still on the negotiating table would be to close the deal with River Plate, but allow the player to remain in Argentina for at least 1 more season to compete in the Copa Libertadores, a tournament Mastantuono desperately wants to win before moving to European football. The reality? Only a quick, firm, and determined decision from Real Madrid could alter the current trajectory that points toward Mastantuono heading to Paris. Time is running out, Los Blancos fans. While we're waiting for Andre Lunin's final decision about potentially changing clubs during the summer transfer window, Real Madrid is carefully studying the possibility of further strengthening their goalkeeper position. And here's where it gets exciting. The club's radar is activated on one of this season's biggest revelations. According to renowned journalist Fabrizio Romano, the entity presided by Florentino Perez is closely watching the significant impact of Lucas Chevalier, a 23-year-old French goalkeeper currently defending Lille's colors. Chevalier has been standing out as one of his team's main differentials, rapidly ascending in European football's hierarchy and emerging as an extremely promising option for the Madrid squad. But here's the catch. Real Madrid won't be the only club interested in signing this talented goalkeeper. Aston Villa is preparing a financial investment worth $40 million and seems willing to open their coffers to guarantee the goalkeeper's arrival in the competitive Premier League. Despite this competition, Lille still maintains an advantageous position in negotiations, benefiting from their young protégé's rising valuation and prestige. If Lunen's departure is confirmed, Chevalier could perfectly occupy the Ukrainian's place and assume a prominent role in Real Madrid's new era under Xavi Alonso's command. Speaking of our new coach, Xavi Alonso is already taking his first initiatives and beginning to firmly and ambitiously shape the squad he wants at his disposal. The coach's primary goal is to build a solid and competitive team capable of making an excellent impression right from the Club World Cup, one of the club's priorities for next season. Real Madrid, faithful to their traditional policy of meticulous planning, will concentrate all efforts on executing a complete and strategic action plan to prepare optimally for the intense summer transfer window. Alonso wants to ensure we're ready not just for domestic competitions, but for our debut on the global stage in the United States. The parallel movements regarding the goalkeeper position show how comprehensive our planning is. With Courtois' injury scare and Lunen's uncertain future, having identified Chevalier as a potential high-level substitute demonstrates the club's proactive approach. Let me break down what all this means for Real Madrid's immediate and long-term future. First, the Courtois situation, while concerning, appears manageable. Sacroiliitis typically responds well to treatment when caught early, and having 3 weeks before the Club World Cup should be sufficient recovery time. The Mastantuono situation is more troubling from a strategic perspective. Losing a $45 million talent to PSG when the player prefers Real Madrid suggests either budget constraints or a miscalculation of the player's market value. This could signal a shift in our transfer strategy under the current economic climate. However, the proactive approach to the goalkeeper position shows positive planning. Whether Lunen stays or goes, having Chevalier identified as a viable option for $40 million demonstrates that we're thinking ahead. At 23, Chevalier represents both immediate contribution potential and long-term investment value. Xavi Alonso's early involvement in squad planning is encouraging. His reputation for developing young talent could be crucial, especially if we're focusing on players like Chevalier rather than established stars. So there you have it, Los Blancos fans. Courtois should be ready for the Club World Cup despite his injury scare, but the Mastantuono situation is looking increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, Lucas Chevalier emerges as an exciting goalkeeper option, and Xavi Alonso is already shaping our future. The summer transfer window is shaping up to be absolutely crucial for our club's direction. Will we see bold moves from Florentino Perez? Can we still salvage the Mastantuono deal? Only time will tell. That's all for today. Please leave your comments below and hit the like button. Thank you for watching.